Good morning and welcome to CJK Broadcasting. My name is Teran and I'm going to be giving you the highlights of this decade. Starting off with E.T., it came out in 1982, and The Breakfast Club with Molly Ringwald, one of our favorite actresses of the time. It also brought about our favorite instructor, Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid in 1985. It also brought about one of our favorite Disney princesses so far, The Little Mermaid, also in 1985. Also brought us movies such as Flashdance, Say Anything, and Ghostbusters. Movies also brought to light some of our most popular stars of today, such as Jane Fonda and Sylvester Stallone, who also came out with his fourth sequel of his world-famous Rocky. Also, we have the popular TV shows such as The Cosby Show, Family Matters, and Full House, which has brought many smiles to our homes over the years. More adult comedies such as MASH and Golden Girls have also come out in recent years and have been rising to fame. Many other popular TV shows of this wonderful decade also include Quantum Leap, Knight Rider, and The Wonder Years. Children's TV has also taken off with shows such as The Smurfs, The Snorks, and The Ninja Turtles, which has brought entertainment to both people big and small. Not only has TV and movies brought an impact to the recent years, but also music has made a great impact as well, with the rise of Michael Jackson as the king of pop with his big hit Thriller, and Madonna and her big hit Papa Don't Preach. We also have the rise of heavy metal in bands such as Van Halen, AC/DC, and Men at Work. Other artists from recent years also include Cyndi Lauper, Elton John, Bon Jovi, Blondie, and Culture Club. We also have the rise of pop music gaining popularity from mainly minorities, with groups such as Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, Beastie Boys, Technotronic, and LL Cool J. And now to Kieran Cole with news in Washington, D.C.
Thanks, Troy. Reporting from the Capitol now about the equal rights struggle. We'll start by talking about the women's rights movements that have fought against discrimination on the basis of sex, focusing mainly on diverse issues like abortion, sexual harassment, and the glass ceiling, which impeded women in corporal advancement. Also, I'm going to discuss inequalities in government and equal rights of other races. During the early part of the decade, women tried to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, or otherwise known as the ERA. In 1972, Congress passed the bill, yet it needed 3/4 votes from the states, which is 38 states' votes. Although they were only able to record 35 states, so the amendment was not passed. After this failure, women tried to get more into politics, first with Geraldine Ferraro, who ran for vice president, and also in the House of Representatives, where they went from 23 women to 37 women. Inequality of women was still present in the 80s, as there were still contributing factors to the feminization of poverty. By 1989, 57% of women were in the workforce, but for every 75 cents they were making, a man was making $1. Also, 31% of females were living in poverty, the majority of the percentage being African American females. To close the income gap, unions have created a way of equal pay based on education and not race or sex. Not only women have made progress in the 80s, as African Americans have leaders like L. Douglas Wilder and Jesse Jackson. Wilder was of Virginia, and he was the first African American governor, and Jesse Jackson ran for presidency in 1984 and 1988. Although failing, he was still impactful in the 80s. Also, improvements for the Latino community, as Lauro Cavazos was appointed as Secretary of Education under Reagan's presidency. All of this really shows how we have expanded as a nation and how the U.S. has grown.
Hello, I'm Charles Schumer reporting to you live from the Berlin Wall in Germany. The Berlin Wall was constructed in 1961 and divided Berlin into two parts. Ever since, it has been a symbol of the Iron Curtain that separates Eastern Europe. Early yesterday, the East German government announced that all border checkpoints were now open. This occurred after weeks of protests by East Berliners to open them. Also contributing to this was the creation of escape points in Hungary and Czechoslovakia. These escape points made it much easier to leave the communist East Germany. This is a truly historic day in the US's struggle against communism. East and West Berlin have been reunited after 30 years apart from each other. Communism has been beaten back from Berlin and all of Germany. However, the US's struggle against communism is far from over. But for now, the people celebrate with their reunited brethren. Berliners from East and West have joined together in singing, cheering, and dancing, and they have begun the long process of destroying the wall with chisels and sledgehammers. But now, the real challenge has just begun. Reassimilating the East Berliners and repairing the damage done by the communist occupiers.
Reporting from Washington, D.C. about social concerns, starting with a major health problem spreading across the nation, AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. AIDS is caused by a virus that spreads through the body and causes the body to be prone to infection. It is mainly transmitted through bodily fluids, for example, a drug user using the same needle. As this epidemic has grown across the nation, so has its concern and its prevention. Abortion is also a controversial topic in our decade. Flashback to 1973, when the court case Roe v. Wade ruled legal by human rights, but recently in 1989, healthcare systems state that the states have rights to impose restrictions on abortions. Also a constant battle against drugs, as Reagan and his administration tried to stop talks of legalization of drugs, and Reagan's wife, the First Lady, came up with a slogan, "Just say no to drugs." Education also became a popular reform movement. This is because of a report named A Nation at Risk, which discussed how the U.S. lagged behind other nations. It revealed that over 1 million U.S. students could not complete a simple job application form. This propelled better funding for teaching in school systems and implemented longer days and more focus on core classes. And lastly, the urban crisis will end this segment. It is closely linked with education, as many uneducated students that lived in cities were affected by suburbanation, which is when people were moving into the suburbs, therefore left education at a standby in cities. By the end of the 1980s, cities were mainly split into wealthy areas and poor-stricken areas.
Hello, Charles Schumer here, reporting for Outside the Kremlin. The Soviet Union has undergone drastic changes in the past several years. These changes have been brought about by the new Soviet Premier, Mikhail Gorbachev. Gorbachev instituted drastic reforms that have transformed the USSR. After gaining office in 1985, Gorbachev immediately set out to revive the USSR. He believed that the Soviet economy was stalled and needed reorganization. He adopted a plan that called for fast-paced technological modernization and increased industrial agricultural productivity. Gorbachev quickly realized that he could not revive the Soviet economy without restructuring the communist government. Under Gorbachev, the nation saw a shift to more socialist ideals. The USSR allowed more freedom of speech, exercised less control over the press, and released thousands of political prisoners. Gorbachev hoped this would turn the people to support his reforms. However, in the end, these would end up working against him. With this newfound freedom, the people began to speak out against the oppressive government.
And now to give you a little taste of fashion, women's fashion over the years has developed from very big hair to leggings and tunics to cans and cans of hairspray. And let's not forget our shoulder pads. Also wearing bright colored clothing, double belts, wearing bright colors, wearing acid wash pants, crazy colors, and crazy prints are also among the trends among women of our decade. A big fashion icon that is setting trends here and there is Madonna with her crazy sense of fashion, with lacy anything from leggings to stockings to gloves and anything else in between. Now moving on to men's fashion, which is full of muscle shirts, jeans, and sneakers, Also in men's fashion, you can find men wearing baggy pants and sneakers, or pants, jean jackets, aviators, and their high tops. A huge men's fashion icon of the decade is Michael Jackson with his unconventional styles, bringing many new ideas to the table as to what men's fashion will look like in years to come. The main hairstyle for the men has been having semi-long hair with a shorter cut in the front, almost like a mullet, but not exactly replicating that style. Also, with the rise of rap, many men have been influenced by the rappers of this decade, wearing many things such as baggy leather jackets with bling, as they call it nowadays, which consists of gold jewelry, gold chains or gold watches or big rings. Thank you for watching CJK Broadcasting. Tune back in tomorrow to see what we have next.